Attorneys for Sean Diddy Combs are fighting a lot of battles on a lot of different fronts lately, and likely spent their holiday crafting motions to try to curtail the amount of legal action the disgraced music mogul is facing. But one of the strangest cases involves a Michigan prison inmate who claims
when she was on the stand at times she became visibly upset, wiping away tears as she gave her evidence.
Diddy's not just behind bars, he's making a list. And at the top, Jennifer Lopez, the fallen music mogul currently awaiting a jury's verdict that could send him to prison for decades, is reportedly compiling a revenge hit list of celebrities who refused to stand by him during his trial. According to shocking new information from inside Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, his ex-girlfriend J Lo has earned the dubious honor of being his primary target. Can you imagine getting revenge threats from your ex in prison? That's exactly what sources claim is happening as prosecutors deliver their closing arguments today in the case that has exposed the darkest corners of the entertainment industry. According to an insider with direct access to Combs, the hip-hop mogul is absolutely seething over Lopez's refusal to publicly support him. He's been saying she has been disloyal by not coming forward as a character witness for him, and that she's at the top of his revenge hit list if he gets out of jail, the source revealed. He's convinced that J Lo has him to thank for her entire career, and that she should be showing loyalty to him.
that Combs raped him in the 90s. A judge had initially granted a massive $100 million judgment in his favor, but after that was overturned, Derek Cardello Smith is now pushing forward with his lawsuit, and he says he plans to call pop icon Jennifer Lopez as a witness.
If you're wondering if Diddy really launched J Lo's career, you're not alone. While he did date her during her early rise to fame, the idea that she owes her entire multi-decade, multi-billion-dollar empire to him seems like a massive stretch, to put it mildly. This stunning revelation showcases the magnitude of Diddy's ego, even as he sits in a detention center facing the possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars. Think about it. The man is literally facing decades in prison, and he's busy planning revenge on people who won't risk their reputations to defend him. He's planning revenge on everyone he thinks has wronged him from his personal and professional circle, the source continued. But Diddy seems to think he has the upper hand. That's how insane this man's ego is. In perhaps the most bizarre twist, Combs has reportedly gone beyond conventional threats. The source claims he's stated he's capable of cursing her and her career. Well, cursing her career? What is this? Hollywood meets Hogwarts? What a joke. The source added. None of these types of threats are going to make a difference to J Lo. She's totally done with Diddy and not going to be intimidated by him or anybody else.
Involving Derek Cardello Smith is one of the strangest parts of the saga of Sean Diddy Combs right now. And as we know, the rapper is behind bars in Brooklyn, accused by the feds of forcing sex workers and others to participate in hours-long performances and orgies, trafficking, racketeering, transportation, to engage in prostitution, federal charges, and at the same time.
If you were J Lo, would you be worried about magical curses from prison? Probably not. But the threats reveal just how disconnected from reality Diddy may have become as his empire crumbles around him. The relationship between Combs and Lopez, which lasted from 1999 to 2001, was one of Hollywood's most high-profile romances, but it was also marred by controversy. Most notably, both were present during the infamous 1999 shooting at Club New York that resulted in 3 injuries and weapons charges against Combs. While Lopez has never been accused of direct involvement in Diddy's alleged criminal enterprise, she has carefully avoided discussing certain aspects of their relationship for over 2 decades. I'm not trying to say Lopez is innocent in everything, notes an industry insider, because she does have some accountability she needs to take for that incident back in New York City in the club. She never has addressed it fully. Think about it. Would you want to revisit a nightclub shooting that happened 25 years ago? Especially when you've spent decades crafting a completely different public image. Questions about how much Lopez knew about Combs' infamous freak-off parties have also circulated. Her ex-boyfriend recently claimed on social media, "I didn't attend the Diddy parties, but my ex-wife aka J Lo did. Ask her. That sound you hear? That's J Lo's publicist having a panic attack."
Combs has also been accused in several civil lawsuits of drugging and raping people as far back as the 90s. The allegations come from both men and women, including some who say that they were just teens when they were targeted.
While Lopez reportedly tops Combs' revenge fantasy, she's far from alone. The source claims Diddy is furious with numerous celebrities who once enjoyed his lavish hospitality but have now distanced themselves. He's also out to get everyone who reveled in his now infamous parties, Jamie Foxx, Ashton Kutcher, who have all now treated him like he has the plague. The insider revealed, can you blame them? Would you publicly support someone facing the kind of allegations Diddy is facing? Especially Ashton Kutcher, the source noted. This guy has gotten the worst press one after another. Last thing he can afford is I support Diddy. Dude, this guy's delusional. He thinks he's walking out of prison and back into power. That's not ego, that's delusion on steroids. What makes this situation particularly concerning is Combs' apparent conviction that he will eventually regain his freedom. He thinks he's getting out, observes a legal analyst, which is dangerous thinking. There is a way he might. If one lone juror wants to fight against them, he could walk. It is a possibility. As Diddy plots imaginary revenge from his cell, one of the entertainers hired to perform at his notorious freak-off parties has come forward with disturbing new details about what happened behind closed doors. Anton Harden, who performed under the name Unholy Meat Obelisk due to his physical endowment, revealed he was paid up to $7,000 per session to participate in elaborate sexual scenarios directed by Combs himself. And I thought I was just there for a good time with consenting adults, Harden explained. If she was putting up an act through coercion, that's super effed up and terrible. It makes it feel like blood money.
I can tell you that immediately, the moment she opened her mouth, you could see that Combs was listening intently to everything that she has to say, as well as those jurors.
Imagine showing up to what you think is a consensual adult encounter, only to later learn you may have unknowingly participated in alleged sexual trafficking. How would you feel? Harden described arriving at hotel rooms to find Diddy waiting with cameras set up on tripods, the room bathed in red light with red towels laid out. It almost felt like I was on a film set of, adult nature, he recalled. According to Harden, Combs maintained complete control over these encounters. Diddy would tell you where to stand, which angle, what to wear, what to do. Go slower, go faster. He would direct her to apply the baby oil on herself. Everything was very orchestrated by him. It was his show. So much for those spontaneous private parties, huh? Sounds more like a porn production with Diddy as the director. Harden's account provides a disturbing glimpse into how Combs allegedly micromanaged these sexual encounters, treating them like personal pornographic productions. She called Diddy daddy, and I was her gift or something like that, Harden recalled. He wanted you to exaggerate. He directed it like it was his own homemade movie. The entertainer described a steady supply of substances being available during these sessions, with Combs sometimes joining in physically or taking turns with performers. Perhaps most disturbingly, Harden claims he only realized during Jane Doe's courtroom testimony what he had actually been participating in. If I had known about this, I would have turned around and left the minute I got there, he insisted. But Jane was very inviting. She was all hugs and smiles. She made me a smoothie. According to Harden, during more recent encounters, Combs seemed preoccupied with public perceptions rather than any legal jeopardy.
After Jennifer Lopez was dragged into the Diddy lawsuit over allegedly being the gun mule in a 1999 nightclub shooting where Diddy and J Lo allegedly made a rapper named Shine take the fall and spend 10 years in prison for them, people have started digging into her past, and it raises some questions.
Diddy was going off about how people thought he was into men, and all the memes were making fun of it, he recalled. That's what he was more concerned about. So while the feds were building a case against him, Diddy was worried about memes? Talk about missing the forest for the trees. Reflecting on his involvement now that he's aware of the allegations, Harden expressed regret. I'm not the judge. I don't know anything about the racketeering, but hitting and manipulating women? If he's guilty of that, it's effed up. I'm embarrassed to say I was a third party in that situation. As prosecutors deliver their closing arguments today, followed by the defense tomorrow, the focus shifts to whether the government has successfully proven their RICO case against Combs. The jury could begin deliberations as early as Monday, with a verdict potentially arriving early next week. Legal experts remain divided on the strength of the government's case. Can a RICO be of one? That's been a whole debate we've had with many legal experts, notes a trial observer. Most say yes, it could, but will a jury believe that? That's ultimately what matters. Have you been following the trial? Do you think Diddy will be convicted? The prosecution faces the challenge of proving not just that individual criminal acts occurred, but that they were part of a larger criminal enterprise directed by Combs. There is a way he might get out, cautions a legal analyst. These RICO charges may not hold up if they haven't shown enough of an enterprise of people who were helping him pull it off.
She joins us now, sharing her story. Natanya, thank you so much for being with us. I can't imagine what you've been through since 1999 and then all the emotions that must be coming up over the last couple of days.
Regardless of the jury's verdict, Combs' reputation appears irreparably damaged. Diddy's become toxic. The entire industry is aware of it, observes an entertainment insider. That is a fact regardless if anything else in this article is real or not. The willingness of former associates like Harden to come forward publicly suggests the wall of silence that once protected Combs is crumbling. People still don't believe he's innocent, notes a source close to the music industry. We've seen the tape. We know what he's capable of. We know what he's lied about. For Lopez, the revelation that she tops Diddy's alleged revenge list creates a difficult situation. While she has successfully distanced herself from her relationship with Combs over the past 2 decades, building a career as a multifaceted entertainer, businesswoman, and family-friendly personality, his legal troubles threaten to resurrect questions about their time together. She does not owe Diddy anything, argues a celebrity image consultant. His belief that she should sacrifice her own reputation to defend him shows just how disconnected from reality he's become. Diddy's reported revenge hit list offers a disturbing glimpse into his psychological state as he faces the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison. Clinical psychologists suggest such behavior reflects classic narcissistic injury and delusions of continued power. When someone with a long history of controlling others and wielding enormous influence suddenly loses that power, they often cling to fantasies of revenge or comebacks, explains a forensic psychologist not involved with the case. It's a defense mechanism against the crushing reality that their empire has collapsed.
Law enforcement sources are expecting the feds to widen the Diddy probe to include previous criminal investigations. Now, we know Diddy was criminally investigated regarding that shooting in New York, but I didn't realize the extent of J Lo's involvement.
The reference to cursing Lopez particularly suggests magical thinking, a belief that he possesses powers beyond normal human capability. This kind of thinking becomes more common when realistic options for control disappear, the psychologist adds. Remember when the scariest thing about Diddy was his vote or die campaign? Those were simpler times. Perhaps most revealing is Combs' apparent conviction that celebrities like Lopez owe him loyalty despite the serious nature of the charges against him. He genuinely seems to believe his former status entitles him to continued allegiance, regardless of his actions, notes a celebrity relations expert. If someone you knew 20+ years ago demanded you risk your reputation to defend them against serious criminal charges, would you do it? Probably not. But in Diddy's world, that's apparently how loyalty works. As the trial moves into its final phase, attention focuses on several key questions. Will the jury find the government's case compelling enough to convict on RICO charges, or might they acquit on technical grounds despite evidence of disturbing behavior? How will Lopez respond to reports that she tops Diddy's revenge list? Thus far, she has maintained complete silence regarding her former boyfriend's legal troubles, a strategy that has served her well but may become harder to maintain as more details emerge. Will additional performers or attendees from Combs' parties come forward now that figures like Harden have broken their silence? The prosecution's closing arguments today will be crucial, notes a legal analyst following the case. They need to connect all these disturbing anecdotes into a coherent pattern of criminal enterprise. The defense will try to portray these as isolated incidents or consensual activities that, while perhaps morally questionable, don't constitute racketeering. For now, Combs remains in detention, his empire crumbling, his former associates distancing themselves, and his reputation in tatters. The man who once declared himself a savage who gets whatever I want now finds himself powerless except in his own mind, where he apparently still believes he can someday exact revenge on those who refuse to stand by him in his darkest hour. If hitting and manipulating women, if he's guilty of that, it's effed up, concludes Harden, whose testimony provides a window into the world Combs created. And that might be the understatement of the century.